Hi everyone, Sharon here again with day 9 video coming to you from Budapest. Okay, so we start out, we're on our way to Heroes Square. I wrote all the things down that I wanted to show you, and this is a train station that was designed by Eiffel, the same guy that invented or designed the Eiffel Tower. And this is still on the way to Hero Square. My husband wanted me to point out that Eiffel building, though, to you. And these big residences on the way to Hero Square, Istvan tells me, are where a lot of the ambassadors live. So this is Hero Square, and I really don't know who all of the heroes are, other than Arpad was the first guy. He led the Hungarians into the, I think it's called the Carpathian um, Basin. And he was the father of the first king of Hungary. And um, his son, István, it's sort of like Stephen. Um, he was the first king, and this is going around the back side of Hero Square. And these are just, some of the big buildings around Hero Square. And this is where this big celebration was on May 1st. I don't remember what year, but it was the year that Hungary was admitted to the European Union, and it was a huge, huge celebration. And we were just privileged to be there at that time and got to be part of it. So now we're on our way to Gellert Hill, and my husband wanted me to videotape this. This is their opera house, and this is what police cars look like in Hungary. This is one of them. And okay, Herend is one of the most famous china manufacturers in Hungary, and it's very famous. And gosh, I don't remember what that building was. But here we are at the Gellert Baths, and I'm hoping that they'll let me go in and video on the inside. And actually, they did allow it. So here we are. This is the ceiling of the main foyer when you go into it, and it's very large and it's very nice. I don't do public baths, but if I did, here is where I would go. And of course, you can get massages and, have a sauna or a steam bath and all kinds of good things like that. There's just one of their statues, and there's another one down at the end. We like statues. My husband went crazy when we went to the Louvre. He took about a bazillion photographs of every statue they had. But I especially like their ceilings, and these skylights are just beautiful. And I think I had my camera on slow motion. I'm not sure, but okay, so here we are at the outside of the top of Gellert Hill, and we're looking at the view of Pest, which is on the right, and Óbuda, which is on the left of the Duna. And this is the Castle Hill portion. And we're headed next to and this is the oldest part of the castle right there. And then to the left, you see old, but still a lot newer than that old section. And now we have just come through the tunnel at the end of the chain bridge, and that big zero is the point where everything radiates out from that point. So when they say it's so many kilometers from Budapest to Pécs, for instance. Okay, this is telling you that Szentendre, Visegrad is 41 kilometers, Esztergom, you know, that's how you know how far it is. It's from that one spot. And we're going to be going to some of those places that you're seeing, especially Pécs. Pécs is one of my favorite places. So this is the 0 point from which it all radiates out. And this is where you catch the little cable car that takes you from the bottom of the hill up to what is called Castle Hill. And I didn't want to go up this way. I had Istvan drive me up to the top of the hill. And the next videos are going to be from that vantage point. But see, these little cable cars are on a weighted system. So when one goes up, the other comes down. And this is a map showing us, that little red dot at the bottom was showing us where we are. And we're going to be going up to the top. That was Istvan's arm showing me that where we're going to be shooting next is that which is called the Fisherman's Bastion. And this is it. And the Fisherman's Bastion is where if Hungary would have been attacked, all of the fishermen would have come to that part of the Duna to defend the castle. That was their spot to fight. And it's really beautiful, especially at night. And Matthias's church is up there, and I'm not sure if he was responsible for building it. He was one of the most popular kings in Europe or in Hungary, because he loved the people, and he was known as the people's king. Actually, there's a little story that it did not make his wife happy because he was so popular with the women. And that was a statue of King Istvan, the first king on his horse. And he's very famous because when he died, they buried him. And 100 years later, they decided to move his grave, so they dug him up. And he was a skeleton, except for his right hand still had flesh on it. And that was all the Catholic Church needed to make him a saint. That relic, his fist, they cut off his hand and put it in a glass box, and it's in the basilica. I really like that story. And this is at the top of Castle Hill. There's Istvan taking pictures that he already has a bazillion of those pictures, but he can't stop himself from taking them again. So now we're going to walk towards the Fisherman's Bastion and King Matthias's church. But I just wanted to show you the buildings up on Castle Hill, and a lot of these are apartment units. Can you imagine how much it costs to live up there? It must be where the rich people have their apartment. And this is more of the wonderful treats you can get there. We were there for the ice cream, though. Oh my God. She's dipping up punch, and punch is my favorite ice cream, and I always get it when I go to Hungary. And of course, this is their famous Hungarian paprikás. And this is a wonderful little replica of King Matthias's church in the Fisherman's Bastion in Braille. So people can come and feel the story with their fingers. Isn't that wonderful? I really like that. And that's a beautiful church on the inside. I didn't go inside. There was too many other things that I wanted to videotape, but that's his church. And if you ever come to Hungary, I would say go inside that church. It's beautiful. This is another view of the Fisherman's Bastion, and then there's King Istvan on his horse. Oh, here's another little piece of information that I thought was interesting. Oh, that's a little out of focus. I was trying to get that crow. There's a crow on top of the Fisherman's Bastion, and that was King Matthias's symbol. And this is looking at Parliament through one of the archways. And then that tall building in the back there, that's the Basilica, which is the second largest church in Hungary. And one of the things that I find interesting is that when King István died, they buried him, but 100 years later they dug him up to move him someplace else, and he was a skeleton except for his right hand. And so that was the relic that the church needed to make him a saint. And here's his hand. You can see it if you go into the basilica. It's in this glass case. Isn't that amazing? And then here's the Fisherman's Bastion at night. It is really, really pretty. And here we are going over the chain bridge. István was just amazed that people are allowed to ride bicycles on this bridge. It is so narrow. And then that's the Four Seasons Hotel at the other end of the bridge. And it's beautiful inside. You can imagine. It is just gorgeous. Now here István is driving me to a plaza that's in front of the basilica so that I can videotape the image from the front of the building. And these are the buildings that surround it. Oh, and these are starting to be very popular all over Europe. You can rent Segways and just tool around on them. They're really fun too. That's just another view of the basilica. I might have gotten carried away with the basilica. Now we're on our way to the Jewish temple, and I thought it was the second largest in Europe, but I think I saw a sign that said it's the largest synagogue in Europe. And there's something I want to show you that just reduces me to tears every time I see it. Hungary really didn't want to go with the Nazis, but they really thought they were going to win the war, and so they said okay, but then they hid their Jews in the countryside. And then one of the things that they created later on was this tree. And this tree is a metal sculpture, and the leaves that hang down from it has the name of all the Hungarian Jews that died in the concentration camps. Each of those leaves has a name engraved on it, and it just really gets me. Now, the Garden of the Just were the Hungarians that hid them. I left in tears. And this is a tombstone from the 3rd century, and it is the oldest object. I thought that was fascinating. And apparently there's a museum inside, and you can see all these things. And I just may go on this tour. Here you're going to hear a guy. I love history, so that would have been right up my alley to be with those people. And now we're headed up to Gellert Hill, and I don't know what happened to my footage. My husband drove me up there. I got out of the car. I sure thought I videotaped from I know I videotaped from the top of that hill, but it's not there anymore. So, c'est la vie. Then it was time for business, and we were on our way to the Mammoet Mall, which is a huge thing. And we were there to meet the CEO of the largest real estate company. And my husband pointed out, look, it almost looks like an Apple store, but it's not. But everything in there is Apple. And they were so sweet. I just loved that they let me videotape them and the store. And I was especially happy to see a store where people can go in and get Apple products so easily and so cleanly. And that was just a little video I took of someone with their Apple phone or their iPhone on the table, and there's a MacBook. I can't stop myself from taking pictures of people using or having Apple devices. This is just more of the inside, and of course more ice cream. Actually, my friend that we met, the CEO, bought us a latte, and any one of these that we wanted, I said, no thank you, I've already had my calories for the day. But I always like how they look. And this last shot is looking up at the little store where you can buy your Apple products from where we were sitting. So that's it for today. I'm really sleepy. I love you guys. More tomorrow.